down 0-2 in the NBA Finals. Everyone said it was over. Only 2 teams in history had ever come back from that hole. But 2 years earlier, Shaquille O'Neal had made a promise to Miami. He would bring them their first championship.
Remember this? 'Cause I'm gonna bring a championship to Miami, I promise.
Most people laughed at an aging superstar past his prime, guaranteeing such a feat. Now, the 2006 Miami Heat were about to make history and prove everyone wrong. What made this team so special that they could pull off one of the greatest comebacks ever? The answer lies in one magical night in Dallas.
Long arms on him, spins inside, step back, way the jumper, got it.
June 20th, 2006, American Airlines Center in Dallas. The Miami Heat were facing impossible odds, down 0-2 in the NBA Finals against the Mavericks. Everyone had counted them out.
The dirt was being shoveled down the grave. The nail was being hammered into the coffin.
But Dwayne Wade wasn't listening to the doubters. In Game 6, Wade, aka Flash, put on a show. He dropped 36 points, grabbed 10 rebounds, and made 5 assists while shooting 55.6% from the field when the championship was on the line.
Wade right at Daniels. Tough shot, count it, and a foul.
Every time Dallas made a run, Flash had the perfect answer. When the final buzzer sounded, the Heat had won 95-92. They had completed one of the most incredible comebacks in finals history, winning 4 straight games after falling behind 0-2. For the first time ever, the Miami Heat were NBA champions.
The Miami Heat, they've done it! They win their first championship in franchise history!
Shaq grabbed 12 rebounds and gave the team the veteran leadership they needed. His bold promise from 2 years earlier had finally come true. But how did they reach this magical moment? The answer begins with one of the biggest trades in NBA history.
The major headline around the league tonight, the Los Angeles Lakers and Miami Heat have agreed to a trade that will send Shaquille O'Neal to sunny South Florida.
Let's go back to July 14th, 2004. Pat Riley was about to make the move that would change everything. The Heat got Shaq from the Lakers in exchange for Caron Butler, Lamar Odom, Brian Grant, and a first-round pick. This wasn't just any trade. This was personal. Shaq was running from one of the nastiest breakups in NBA history with Kobe Bryant. The Shaq-Kobe fight had blown up after the Lakers lost to Detroit in the 2004 Finals.
Do you feel that you and Kobe will ever be able to mend your relationship?
I'm a married man. I don't want to have a relationship with another man. I don't care about another man. If you don't like me, I really don't. Who cares if you don't like me? I'm sure he don't care if I don't like him. I don't care.
At his first press conference, Shaq made guarantees. Remember this, I'm going to bring a championship to Miami. I promise. Shaq said he was going to bring snow to Miami, meaning something magical and special to a place that had never seen it before. At 32 years old, Shaq still had 11 All-Star games and 3 championship rings. Most importantly, he brought championship experience and that winning drive Miami had never had. Shaq's reason was crystal clear. He wanted to prove he could win without Kobe. The Lakers had picked the young guard over the big man, and Shaq was going to show them they'd made a huge mistake. But Coach Riley wasn't done building his championship team. He needed more pieces to finish his puzzle. During the summer of 2005, the Miami Heat kept building its championship team. The most important addition was veteran point guard Gary Payton, and his story was heartbreaking. At 37 years old, GP had played 16 seasons in the NBA and reached the finals twice with Seattle in 1996 and the Lakers in 2004, but he had never won a championship. This was probably his last shot at the ring that had gotten away from him his whole career. GP joined Miami as a free agent, taking the smallest contract because he believed in what Coach Riley was building.
Pat Riley comes in, he puts a big old bucket in, and we throw all kind of stuff in there, and we make a thing 15 strong. And this team was a little bit different than all my previous teams that I went to the finals with, because we were like as really, really one. We all hung out together. We all did everything together.
The glove was no longer the defensive monster from his Seattle days, but his basketball smarts and clutch skills were still there. GP brought 16 years of experience and a desperate hunger for his first championship ring. He had been so close so many times, and this felt like his last chance. The foundation was getting stronger, but the Miami Heat still needed more weapons. Jason Williams came to Miami through a big 5-team trade that would turn out to be brilliant team building. White Chocolate had come a long way from his early Sacramento days, when people said he was all flash and had no real skill. During his time in Memphis, he'd grown into a solid point guard who could work perfectly with Flash's explosive scoring. The trade that brought White Chocolate also brought Antoine Walker and James Posey to South Beach. Walker gave Miami a versatile forward who could stretch defenses with his three-point shooting. James Posey became Coach Riley's defensive specialist, the guy who could guard different positions and hit big shots when the pressure was highest. But here's what made these signings even more special. Coach Riley convinced Shaq to take $100 million instead of $120 million in his contract.
And Pat did the most gangster shit at all. Remember when I was up for another 120?
Yeah.
Pat came in and he said, Shaq, I love you. I can give you the whole 120 and we can have nobody, or I can give you 100. Get UD some more money. I can bring in Posey. I can bring in GP. I can bring in all them guys. And I was like, you know what? I need to win because you know what I'm here. I'm like, I got to win one before old boy get one. So yeah.
The pieces were falling into place, but would they work together when it mattered most? Well, the 2005-06 season began with championship hopes, but quickly turned into a nightmare. Despite all the talent, the Heat started 11-10 under Stan Van Gundy.
Horrible-looking shot by Antoine Walker.
New players like Walker, White Chocolate, and GP needed time to figure out how to play with Flash, Shaq, and Udonis Haslem. According to Walker, some players were more focused on enjoying Miami's nightlife than playing championship basketball.
So Shaq ended up, we could get on the road, and he would make a saying. He would be like, bus leave at 10 or 11. And so everybody going, we got 6, 7, 8 guys on the team, we going to the party, and Shaq is usually hosting. But what I had to learn in the process of kicking and partying is that Shaq don't drink. But we drinking, rest of us, we drinking, having a good time, we partying. And the next day come, we get in front of Coach Pat Riley, he like, man, it's a brewery in here.
Just 21 games into the season, Van Gundy quit, saying he wanted to spend more time with his family. Coach Riley, who had stopped coaching 2 years earlier to focus on his job as team president, immediately came back to coach, even though he admitted he hadn't looked at a playbook in 2 years. What happened next was amazing. Under Coach Riley's leadership, the Heat went 41-20 for the rest of the season, finishing 52-30 and earning the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference. He brought accountability, defensive principles, and a championship mentality that the team desperately needed.
There's so much written about culture today, and a lot of it in reference to the Heat. The culture is simply a shared vision. So it's up to the coach to create the philosophy, and you have to then paint the picture of what it's going to look like, and then you start showing pictures of championship parades. You have to sear that image into a team and a player's mind so they see it, they believe it, they'll do the things that it's going to take to get there.
The 2006 Miami Heat became known by their motto, 15 strong, representing all 15 players who would help win the championship. At the center was the dynamic duo of Flash and Shaq. Flash, in just his 3rd season, averaged 27.2 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 6.7 assists during the regular season, showing he was now one of the NBA's best players.
Shaq drives hard, draws the foul.
Shaq, despite injuries, still averaged 20.0 points and 9.2 rebounds in 59 games. At 33, he had become a wise veteran who knew exactly when to take over and when to help his teammates shine.
It'd be foolish for me as a 34-year-old to try to act like I'm 24. So I'm just like, the big brother. I still try to play my game real consistently, but sometimes you gotta stand down, especially when you got a player like Dwayne.
The supporting cast was perfectly built for championship basketball. Udonis Haslem, the undrafted hometown hero, averaged 9.3 points and 7.8 rebounds while bringing the toughness Coach Riley demanded. Alonzo Mourning, who had battled kidney disease and got a transplant in 2003, came back to provide veteran leadership and shot blocking, averaging 7.8 points and 5.5 rebounds. White Chocolate became the third leading scorer with 12.3 points per game, while shooting 37.2% from three-point range. GP contributed 7.7 points and 3.2 assists while being the team's leader and mentor. James Posey became the defensive specialist, averaging 7.2 points and 4.8 rebounds while shooting 42.2% from three in the playoffs when it mattered most. Antoine Walker provided versatility, averaging 12.2 points and shooting 36.5% from beyond the arc. The 15-strong philosophy meant everyone was ready to step up when their number was called. But would they be ready for their biggest moment? Definitely. Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals against Detroit on June 2, 2006, showed exactly why Coach Riley had worked to get White Chocolate. With Flash battling flu-like symptoms and being in the hospital earlier that day, White Chocolate stepped up with one of the most efficient performances in playoff history. White Chocolate shot a perfect 10 for 10 from the field in the first three quarters, finishing with 21 points on an incredible 10 for 11 shooting overall.
Jason Williams again! Williams 10 for 10 from the field.
His hot shooting helped the Heat build a big lead and eventually win 95-78, sending them to their first NBA Finals in team history. White Chocolate spread the floor perfectly and created easy opportunities for Shaq, who responded with 28 points and 16 rebounds. The chemistry between White Chocolate and Shaq was perfect throughout the game. His ability to hit open threes forced Detroit's defense to guard the perimeter, creating more space for Shaq to dominate in the post. Flash, despite being sick, still had 14 points and 10 assists, showing the kind of leadership that would define his finals performance. This game showed the perfect execution of Coach Riley's system. Multiple players stepping up when their star needed help most. The stage was set for their ultimate test, but would they be ready for the biggest stage in basketball? Well, the NBA Finals began as Miami's worst nightmare. Dallas destroyed them in the first two games by 10 and 14 points, making the Heat look completely overwhelmed. The criticism was brutal, with the media calling Miami an unworthy opponent. Coach Riley used this disrespect as fuel, showing his team every negative article before Game 3. Game 3 on June 13th became the defining moment for both the series and GP's legacy. With the game tied 95-95 and less than 20 seconds on the game clock, Miami desperately needed someone to step up. That someone was 37-year-old GP, who hadn't even scored a point in the game until that moment. The play happened when Flash passed to White Chocolate, whose path was blocked. With the shot clock running down, White Chocolate found GP on the right side. GP faked out Josh Howard with a head fake, took one left dribble, and hit a 17-foot jumper as the shot clock ran out.
Jason Williams kicks it out. Peyton shot. It's good.
Swish! The shot gave Miami a heart-stopping 98-96 win and prevented a crushing 0-3 hole that no team in finals history had ever escaped. This clutch shot changed the entire series and proved that Miami belonged on basketball's biggest stage. But the real fireworks were just beginning. From Game 3 forward, the finals became the Flash Show, with Shaq providing crucial support and championship leadership. Flash's performance over the final 4 games ranks among the greatest individual finals performances in NBA history.
Driving right side. Wade put it up and got it and fouled!
Flash averaged an incredible 39.3 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 3.5 assists while shooting 48.8% from the field in games 3 through 6. For the entire series, he averaged 34.7 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 3.8 assists while shooting 46.8% from the field. His dominance was most obvious in his relentless attacks on the rim and ability to get to the free throw line when his team needed points most. Over the 6-game series, he attempted 97 free throws, making 75 of them for a 77.3% rate, showing his aggressive style in clutch shooting under pressure. Flash's 25 free throw attempts in Game 5 tied an NBA Finals record as he scored 43 points in a heart-stopping 101-100 victory that put Miami one win away from history. His 42-point, 13-rebound performance in Game 3 provided the foundation for the historic series comeback. Flash scored at least 36 points in 4 of the 6 finals games, showing incredible consistency when his team needed him most. The relationship between Flash and Shaq was crucial to Miami's championship success. Shaq's dominant presence in the paint created perfect driving lanes for Flash's explosive attacks, while Flash's slashing ability often drew double teams that left Shaq with easy matchups. Despite dealing with various injuries throughout the playoffs, Shaq averaged 18.4 points and 9.8 rebounds in the postseason, providing the veteran leadership this young team desperately needed. His championship experience was invaluable during the finals run. Having won 3 championships with the Lakers, he understood the mental challenges of performing on basketball's biggest stage. The perfect storm was building towards that one magical night. The 2006 Miami Heat roster had multiple players who would eventually be in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Shaq was already a lock for the Hall of Fame when he came to Miami. He added his 4th championship ring to a legendary resume that included 3 Finals MVP awards and 1 regular season MVP. The 2006 championship was important proof for Shaq after his bitter departure from Los Angeles, proving he could win without Kobe. Flash's incredible performance in the 2006 Finals essentially guaranteed his Hall of Fame spot. At just 24 years old, he became one of the youngest Finals MVP winners in NBA history. His ability to take over games during the most crucial moments showed the kind of championship gene that separates good players from legends. GP earned his Hall of Fame spot based on his entire amazing career, but the 2006 championship was the perfect ending. After 16 years of being one of the league's best point guards, including 9 All-Star games and a Defensive Player of the Year award, GP finally had the championship ring that had avoided him throughout his prime years in Seattle. But for many other players on the 2006 Heat roster, this championship was their only taste of NBA glory, making their contributions even more meaningful. White Chocolate, despite his entertaining style and solid career with Sacramento and Memphis, never reached another finals. His championship ring validated a career that had sometimes been overshadowed by critics who said he was style over substance. White Chocolate's perfect Game 6 performance in the Eastern Conference Finals became the defining moment of his career and proved his championship worth. Antoine Walker, who had been an all-star earlier in his career with Boston, found his championship moment in Miami. Despite his sometimes frustrating shot selection and inconsistent play, Walker's versatility and veteran leadership helped the team succeed when it mattered most. This would be his only championship ring. Udonis Haslem represents perhaps the most heartwarming story of the championship team. The undrafted Miami native had worked his way from the bottom of the roster to becoming a key contributor. This championship was particularly special as Haslam achieved his ultimate dream with his hometown team, making it even more magical. The 2006 championship was the ultimate vindication for Shaq in his ongoing rivalry with Kobe and the Los Angeles Lakers organization. When the Lakers chose to keep Kobe over Shaq in 2004, many questioned whether Shaq could still be the best player on a championship team at his age. By winning a fourth championship with a different team and a different superstar partner, Shaq proved that his dominance wasn't dependent on any single teammate. Critics had suggested that Shaq's best days were behind him, and that Kobe had been the real driving force behind the Lakers' three-peat from 2000 to 2002. Shaq's ability to mentor Flash and provide veteran leadership showed significant growth in his approach to team basketball. Rather than competing with Flash for attention or shots, Shaq embraced his role as mentor and second option with championship grace. This maturity represented significant growth from his earlier years and helped create the selfless team chemistry that championship teams require. Most importantly, Shaq had kept his sacred promise. He had brought snow to Miami, that magical championship experience that the city had never witnessed before. In doing so, he proved he was indeed the most important piece of those Lakers championship teams and silenced his critics forever. The legend had fulfilled his destiny, but one more story remained to be told. Flash's 2006 finals performance also established him as one of the greatest shooting guards in NBA history and cemented his legacy as Mr. Miami Heat forever. His ability to elevate his game during the biggest moments showed the kind of clutch gene that separates good players from champions and legends from mortals. Flash's finals statistics tell only part of the incredible story. His 34.7 points per game average was impressive, but it was how he scored those points that made the performance truly legendary. Flash's explosive drives to the basket, his improved three-point shooting, and his defensive intensity all contributed to one of the most complete finals performances in basketball history. The championship established Flash as the undisputed face of the Miami Heat franchise for years to come. Flash's performance in the 2006 playoffs was nothing short of spectacular throughout the entire run. He averaged 28.4 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 5.7 assists throughout the entire postseason. But it was his finals performance that truly transformed him into a legend. His ability to get to the free throw line became the defining characteristic of Miami's historic comeback, as he consistently drew fouls and converted at a high percentage when the pressure was at its peak. A superstar had been born in the fires of championship glory. So what made the 2006 Miami Heat such a special team? It wasn't just the Hall of Fame talent or the clutch performances that defined them. It was a group of players who understood that individual glory meant absolutely nothing without team success. Veterans like GP and Shaq sacrificed everything for one final shot at greatness that had avoided them. Flash emerged as a superstar precisely when his team needed him most, rising to meet destiny's call. And role players stepped up in the biggest moments, becoming heroes when legends are born. The 15-strong motto wasn't just a slogan. It was the championship blueprint for how champions are built through sacrifice, determination, and belief. Sometimes the most unlikely teams create the most unforgettable memories that last forever. And on that magical night in Dallas, the Miami Heat proved that with the right mix of talent, leadership, and determination, even the most impossible dreams can come true. That's how you bring snow to Miami. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the greatest championship runs in NBA history, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Behind the Ball for more incredible basketball stories and content like this. We break down the moments, players, and teams that made basketball history, and there's so much more to explore. See you in the next one.